So you pay your rent. Your rent goes on the same as equivalent of what the mortgage would be paid, plus the taxes. And then they're going to help you save 10%. So right now, if you had 10, over the next 3 years, they're going to help you save another $47,000 to you.
If you're looking to buy a home, you have a variety of different options to look at. Jason O'Keefe from Real Home Experts is here with us today to explain this concept of the rent-to-own programs. We've heard these terms before, Jason. I'd love for you to just dive in and give us a real good explanation of what these programs entail.
When I first got into the real estate industry 15 years ago, I heard a lot of these rent-to-own programs and I looked into them and all that. And I found them more and more to be a bit of a farce. And they were definitely on the rent-to-own side of things, the original owner. And there were so many stipulations in there that 50% of them would never buy the house and they'd lose all their money. So I had a very negative approach to them until I've talked to some different companies now that I truly believe are doing it properly.
How long have rent-to-own programs been around? Is this something that it's been around for decades?
As long as I've been in the business for 15, 16 years, they've been around. So I'm sure they've been around before that too. So one of the companies that we have partnered with, and remember, I did my due diligence because if I'm going to stick my clients in these programs, I want to make sure they're taken care of. And I wanted to understand more and more how they work. And especially nowadays where we're pricing a lot of people out of the market, especially in this area or even down, farther down southwestern Ontario, people just don't have the down payments. They don't qualify right now. They're wasting their money renting. And we've talked about the renting and buying issue. And I truly believe buying is always the best way.
So Jason, are you able to walk us through what's different about the people that you ascertain are the right companies to deal with respect to rent to own, and explain what the process is?
So basically what we do is we talk to our clients ahead of time and we find out what kind of down payment they have. For a lot of people, having 5% down on a lot of homes, and we're talking, let's say the average price point's say around $500,000. They need $25,000. Right now with rent to own companies, the one we're talking to and dealing with is $10,000 is where they seem to be. So now how that program works is the rent to own company will actually purchase the property for them. They take the $10,000 down, they purchase the property for them. They then work out what that property is going to be worth in 3 years. And the client then agrees to purchase that home in 3 years for the new price. Example would be on a $500,000 mortgage or house. You're looking at in 3 years, 5% increase year over year. Let's say it's 75, just for easy math. What's going to happen then is somebody's going to say, well, what you're telling me my house has been, I got to buy it at 575 and it's worth 500 now. Well, the amount of years it takes people to save that down payment over the next 3 years, and the way the market's been going, we've seen 10%, 15% increases. If you would have done that 3 years ago, you'd have bought it at 300, paid 360, say. Well, now your house is worth 500. You would have been ahead of the game by 200 just by getting in there. So what this does now, this company is, that's the way it works. And then for a lot of people that tend not to be able to get mortgages or don't have the down payment, this company helps you save. So what they're doing is they're doing a forced savings for you. So you pay your rent. Your rent goes on the same as equivalent of what the mortgage would be paid, plus the taxes. You still pay your utilities. And then they're going to help you save 10%. So right now, if you had 10, for the next 3 years, they're going to help you save another $47,000 together. So that way, when you go to a bank, now in 3 years, you've got 10% down and you get a mortgage with the bank on that time. For now, the next 3 years, that company owns it. You're purchasing it from them in 3 years.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And it's funny because I've heard of rent-to-own programs, but I've never heard it actually explained and how it truly works. That doesn't sound too bad. I'm thinking about first-time home buyers. I know you've done a video on first-time home buying on your YouTube channel. We've also talked about renting versus buying. But a lot of people who are being priced out of the market now have an opportunity perhaps to get into buying their own home. How exciting is that?
Well, and here's the other beauty of it. So let's say you buy that house now for $500,000, and over the next 3 years, remember, it's not like a normal rental house. This is going to be your home. So let's say you are a little handy. Say you want to do some renovations. The kitchen needs a renovation, and you go and put $5,000 or $10,000 into that renovation. When the bank appraises it after, if it's worth $600 or $650, that's your equity. That's not the company's equity. And you also know now what's happening with a lot of people, and the rental rates are going up. What's happening for a lot of investors that own properties is if they're only getting, say, the rents are now worth about $2,000 today, and they're still only getting $1,400 from you on that property, a lot of investors are selling their properties. And it's pushing a lot of people back out into the streets. Now you know where you're going to live for the next 3 years. You're set. You have 3 years, plus you're saving to have that. It's basically a forced retirement package for you.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot better than 3 years of renting and having nothing and hoping you're going to save. But now you're going to be paying or saving the money to get to that level of what house you're trying to buy. It's just an ongoing cycle that they never get off of.
Right.
A lot of renters never get off of that because they're afraid, well, I'm going to pay this. Well, that's what the house is going to be worth anyways in 3 years. So what's the difference?
And I think anyone who's been in the rental market knows that there's volatility there too. Like you said, uncertainty if you're kicked out and put to the curb somehow.
Yeah, when you sign a lease in Ontario right now, you're basically guaranteed 1 year. For 1 year, you're month to month. And you can leave, which is great. But the landlord, they have to follow certain rules. But if they decide to sell the place or move back, we've seen a lot of them right now where the landlords actually are moving back into properties because they've sold some of their other stuff and they're going back into this one. They're going to fix it up for a year and then they're going to move it anyways.
And you can't live there while they're coming back or they're renovating. So,
and that's happened to one of my clients right now is we moved them over to this program and they're in the process of getting approved. Now, remind you, you still have to have a minimum of $60,000 of income as a family. There's certain things. Well, let's say you've got a little bit of credit issues right now. You've got something that, you didn't pay properly in the day. You've got to get your credit scores up. This will give you 3 years to do that. And that's huge. And that gives people an opportunity to buy a home now versus 3 years. And we know if people get the support from a lot of companies, and this is why I like this company, is they spend a lot of time helping you create a budget, create a forced savings. And a lot of people need that because they don't run off a budget. So this is a great program for people. Waterloo Region has a certain program that you can do through their system. So there's some other options out there. Kind of the same idea. They'll lend you the money for the down payment and you have to buy within the city. So there's certain stipulations there. So there's other options too to help people rent owns or these things, right? There's great programs out there.
This is very enlightening, Jason. Thank you so much. Now I see that there are a bunch of different options, especially in a world that sometimes can seem uncertain and volatile, but there are options out there. How do people get in touch if they want to know more, if they qualify?
So basically, just go on our website, realhomeexperts.ca or realhomecondos.ca and just put your name in there and we'll get in touch with you.